Today's match reaction is brought to you by FanTeam, where you can win £100,000 in the second chance fantasy football season game. The links are in our description below and in the live comment section. Go check it out at the end of this stream. Smash that like and share button. Let's go, people. Man City win. 2-2 draw. Liverpool have a 2-0 lead. Huge mistake from SALAH. Well taken goal by Mane. Mo Salah scores another absolute perler. That all comes after a Trent Alexander-Arnold mistake. A brilliant save from KLOPP. And you think Liverpool have put themselves back in the driving seat to challenge Manchester City. And then one of the greatest strikes you'll see at Stamford Bridge ever from KOVACIC. An absolute perler. A wonder goal. A screamer. Gives Chelsea some hope. And then they equalise just before half-time after some brilliant play, a wonderful interception from Rudiger, some wonderful football and another sublime finish, a little bit of dodgy defending, which we'll touch on as well. But the game finishes 2-2. Is the title race now over for both Liverpool and Chelsea? Major players leaving for both sides for AFCON. You've got Chelsea at some point this month going off to the World Club Championship, in the next month or so, to the World Club Championships. Man City will look to capitalise in these moments and spread this lead further. We've got a brilliant panel coming on the show very, very soon indeed. Zain will be on, David's here, Hussim's here, Rak is here with us as well. But I want to gauge your thoughts and your feelings on this game. Lots of controversial moments for us to delve into as well today. Of course, should Mason Mount have been sent off for what looked like a kick out? Chelsea fans screaming for Mane to be sent off in the opening moments of the game for an elbow smash. What was Van Dijk doing at this moment, not closing down the space before the equaliser went in? Chalobah's header as well. Why is he trying to head the ball when it's that far from the ground? I've got no idea. Maybe it was pressure. Maybe it was the day, the occasion, and everything else surrounding it. But there's only one winner today. And it is Manchester City. There's only one team pulling away at the top of the league. Liverpool's leaky defence. Chelsea's recent woes of not being able to keep goals out, what they've been famed for nearly 12 months under Thomas Tuchel. In the end, a brilliant game of football today. I'm not going to deny. I loved every single second of it. Sublime, sublime, sublime. But in terms of the result, has that ended the Premier League title race as we know it? Has that happened? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Panel coming very soon, people. Let's get this stream past that 500 like mark and they'll be on their way. People keep telling me that Trent is a great defender. I'm yet to see it after 3 years, is what VK has got to say. Trent Alexander-Arnold was shocking. Bad defensively. He can thank Pulisic that Chelsea didn't win. Bottled a 2-goal advantage. Virgil Van Slippy. I kind of get where that was coming from there. Van Dead Food is what's being said in the comments here. This is an interesting one. Man United are shite. We know. I don't get why that one's come up for. A lot of people having a pop at Man United in the comment section, which is strange to me. Mane should have been sent off is what's being said here. Again, I don't know about that. I don't know. Listen, I want to get the panel's view. Was a war, Terry, sometimes ends in a draw? Well, I knew there'd be goals. I predicted 3-2. I knew there'd be goals. I knew there would be opportunities for both teams, and there was throughout. There was nervous moments, there's mistakes. You could see both sides knew that failing to win today was the end of it. You could almost in those last 10 minutes, although both teams attacked, it was almost this moment of them looking at each other saying, we're done, aren't we? The season is practically over. And there are not very many Chelsea fans and Liverpool fans I've spoken to that believe there's much of a chance from this point. Some may feel differently. 10-point gap between Chelsea and Man City. And there's an 11-point gap. I know Liverpool have that game in hand. Chelsea, by the way, just one win in their last 5 games. Slowly but slowly slipping away from both. Some of you may think you're in it, and I want your thoughts. Hi, Terry. Yeah, the league is done, is what Ray's got to say. Slow the roll, Terry. Let's see Man City versus Chelsea and Liverpool. And of course, you could win those. They could lose those games. but it's about having the confidence in your team. Liverpool without a win in 3 games now. Are they going to get over this? Will they have any more spats like this? The only way this the title race reopens if City have a bad run. Everybody's got a will Man City to go on a bad run, and they weren't poor against Brentford, and they were against Arsenal. They were poor. They weren't poor against Brentford, but in those 2 games, they were those 2 matches where they could have dropped points, and they didn't. It's going to be very, very difficult, in my opinion, from now. Especially, I say Chelsea, 1 win in 5. It's just not title winning form. Hendo and Van Dijk were terrible for the second goal. You ask why Liverpool supporters defend Trent. Ask yourself, was any of the goals his fault? I didn't think either goal was Trent's fault today. I did think it was a defensive issue. The line is too high. Van Dijk wasn't even comfortable with how high your line is. He was hugely... Look, there was loads of people at fault. Generally, when a goal goes in, it isn't always one person. Chalobah, the goal that Mane scored, Chalobah, yes, catastrophic mistake. I get it. Van Dijk was a big issue today. Yeah, the midfield could have been stronger. You know, with a stronger midfield, maybe you dominate the ball more, but that doesn't give other players excuses to not cover, not make runs. I don't really get it myself, what he was doing there, Van Dijk. When I consider him to be the best, I do consider him to be the best centre-back in the world. I don't get why he's not making a run across. Was he even marking somebody else? Yeah, he was. I suppose the ball could get passed back. Yeah, maybe that's why he thought he'd stay with his runner. Maybe I'm being too kind. I don't know. Strange to me. But yeah, Trent wasn't at fault for the goals today. I don't think anybody should be blaming him for that. I know someone in the comment section did. He nearly gave away a goal in the opening seconds. The goalie saved him. But aside from that, he wasn't at fault, in my opinion. We are definitely bottled jobs. Lost the lead too many times this season, especially 2-goal leads. We need to revamp the midfield. How is Milner still starting for us? Rapstar, I spoke about this very early on in the season. And I said, if Liverpool don't stop conceding goals, they cannot win the league. I was abused. I was lambasted. I was called pretty much every pejorative you could imagine by Liverpool supporters. I'm a hater. What about my team? You're chatting rubbish. And then you went through a really good run where it stopped. And it started again. The problems at the back. Some of it is midfield. Some of it is individual mistakes at the back. It's a combination of the 2 things. And Liverpool's leak. I won't say leaky defense because that triggers people. Liverpool's leaking goals, inexplicably leaking goals, is what's led to this. And it's a shame for Liverpool supporters. It really is, because you haven't really had the injuries at the back. The midfield. Listen, every club's had injuries, though, haven't they? It's a hard one to blame it all on injuries. Man City have just been too consistent, and Liverpool and City, they couldn't match it. Love the fight back from the boys. Lukaku not missed is what Lamin's got to say here. It was strange for Chelsea because they started off on fire and they looked really good and sharp, and then they conceded 2 goals almost out of nothing. Liverpool weren't bad, but I thought Chelsea were better. And then Liverpool looked in complete control, and then again 5 minutes flipped the script. It was an amazing game of football. I'm not going to lie. There was brilliant football. There was mistakes. It was so competitive, but title race done. A lot of people will say. Brilliant game, but Man City are the only winners, is what Canyon's got to say here. I agree it was a poor game from Van Dijk, but was impressed with Konate and Tsimikas considering the occasion. Yeah, I thought both of them were very good today. What I liked about Tsimikas was his fight until the last moment. I was really impressed with that tenacity from him today. Very, very good indeed. It really was. People are telling me to check. I'm not going to go and check Lukaku's Facebook profile. I don't have time. Couldn't beat Liverpool with 12 men. Everyone knows Liverpool agenda was real. I don't get that. Make that make more sense to me, please, my bro. I want you to make that make more sense. Right. Panel on its way very, very soon, people. You are right this season. We have bottled 2-goal leads multiple times. It's our fault. But let's not forget, Chelsea are celebrating a draw at their home. I'll be honest with you, bro. You're a regular super chatter, so I'm going to respect you. I don't see any Chelsea fans celebrating anything, because I think what both Liverpool fans and most Chelsea fans and most Liverpool fans know in their heart of hearts, that winning the league title now, which is the only thing that's successful for these clubs. Liverpool and Chelsea not being in a title race is instant. It's season over. It's instant disappointment. There is no second place unless you're neck and neck for the title. Because at least, you know, I know that because my club used to be an elite club in terms of competitiveness. And if we fell away and we were nowhere near a title race, it's disappointing. You know, records and, you know, this is the maddest thing. Mo Salah can keep scoring all the goals he wants. It's going to mean very little to Liverpool fans if there's no title race, if there's no title at the end of it. These things, when you're a club like Liverpool, which is heaped in history of winning trophies, that's it. Everything outside of that is noise. So it's going to be massively disappointing to Liverpool fans and Chelsea fans today, who over the last 20 years have grown in that space of winning as well. This is elite end sport. This is what it's about. Do you know what I mean? It's what it's about. Chelsea going through a crisis right now. Tie, good. I mean, the tie's good for you, JP, if you're a City fan. No, I suppose it's good for them maybe in terms of a result because they're in a crisis, but not in the scheme of their season. Never felt comfortable at 2-0. Cracking game for the neutral, but City control games better. And so keep picking up wins. Only City can stop City from here. And I think that's true. Well, that is true. It's factually true. City have to collapse for anybody to catch them. The one thing I'd say, though, there's a lot of people suggesting that focus now on the Champions League. The only problem with doing that is imagine City do have a mini wobble. Don't win in 2 or 3 games. But you haven't played strong enough teams to win the matches around it. It's one of those things. I don't think Liverpool and City are going to stop. They can't stop. It's not professional. I don't know. It's not professional enough for me. They're too professional is what I'm saying. They won't do that. Liverpool tried to compare themselves to City. Lol. It's what Bailey's got to say. Chelsea over the cup team Liverpool, in my opinion, I think, in my honest opinion, is what Ansub's got to say. If you're happy at a draw at home, don't call yourself a supporter. Simple as that is what Salim's got to say. Liverpool couldn't beat 10 men Chelsea. What's that guy chatting about is what DNN has got to say. Oh, yeah, of course, that was earlier on in the season. I was a little bit confused myself there. I'm going to bring the panel out. We will be rotating the panel, so if you're not on straight away, bear with us backstage. Got some Liverpool fans. Not very many Chelsea fans here today. I've shared the link. I don't know where they are, though. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I don't know where they're at. Right, let's get the panel out, people. Let's get the likes up as well. Of course, we are sponsored also today by our friends at Fan Team. Remember, it's free to enter. £100,000 prize for their fantasy football's second chance season. So in 13 days' time, a brand new league starts from 0 points. You get to pick your 11-man team and subs from now. You enter for free if you register with my link in the description or in the live comment section. And if you win, we'll give you £100,000 straight out, tax-free, in your bank account, no messing about, free to enter. So get that done at the end of the show. Let's bring out my beautiful panel now to have their say. Let's do this. Welcome back to the Tips. Thank you very much for coming on. I can see on all your faces big disappointment in, of course, not picking up the win today. I want to start off with David first. Of course, Chelsea were at home. Give me your take, mate.
Obviously, it's annoying we didn't win because I felt like we deserved to win, to be honest. Like, the only reason they scored is because we have a stupid young defender who made a mistake, and we have basically we just have people who shouldn't be playing. They, like, to be honest, they shouldn't be playing. But by the by, they scored their 2 goals. But I'm happy with the fight back. I'm happy because we've proven to that person who I won't freaking mention because he's a dickhead that we can play football and we might even play better football without him, because that team showed fight today. They were 2-0 down, and Chelsea, and you look at Chelsea over the past couple of years, we really struggled to make comebacks. It's 2 goals down. I was fearing the worst. I was thinking 3-4, but they fought back and they really tried. And I felt like we really deserved to win that game. We've played Liverpool twice this season. I felt we deserved to win, but that's me. But that may be me looking at it through blue glasses. That's quite simple, but it's annoying that we've drawn. That's the thing. We both of us aren't winners in this. So yeah, but you know, the fact we were 2-0 down and it's 2-2, I'll take it.
Absolutely, Hussein. From your point of view, leading 2-0, it looked like it did for about 35 minutes. It looked like it could be a very vintage day for Liverpool. What went wrong in your opinion today, brother?
I'm going to ignore what David just said when he says Chelsea deserve to win. I want to respond to that. I'll just say, first of all, congratulations to Man City, Premier League champions 2022. This result does nothing for neither of us. I think, you know, this draw does nothing for Chelsea. It does nothing for Liverpool. Today's game is actually an indication of why both of us are not good enough to keep up with City this season. Both of us suspect defensively. Both of us suspect going forward. Not as good. Obviously, I'd say probably Chelsea are better defensively. We're better going forward. However, I just don't think we can keep up with City. This result just does nothing for neither team. If Chelsea won, you would have said, okay, hope. If we won, you would have said, okay, hope. Now, I'm very proud of Terry, you know, making improvements. No circles today to try blame Trent somehow. Obviously, the first goal was Konate's fault. The second one, sorry, he was completely out of position. I swear to God. Like, it was just laughable. However, look, 2-0 up. We do need to do better. We do need to you know, keep control of the game. And once again, it's the one thing that's letting us down. It's not the defense. It's not the attack. It's the midfield. The midfield is failing to control the football. It's failing to control the game. Milner did a good job, I thought, today on Kante in terms of stopping Chelsea's midfield. However, overall, I don't think there was any control of midfield. I said this earlier on. I said Liverpool and Chelsea are both like Norwich in the Championship. Like, we're way too good to be in a top 4 race, but we're not good enough to win the Premier League. I feel like we're in that like gray area where, like, I know for a fact, and David knows for a fact, we're finishing top 4. Like, if there's no top 4 race. However, I don't think we can keep up with City really. Now, the one thing I will disagree with you, Terry, is that this season is a failure. For me, look, now it's Champions League or bust, and I've maintained I have high standards. If we don't win the Premier League or the Champions League, then the season's a failure. I'm questioning everyone. I'm questioning the players, the manager, the owners, whoever. I'm questioning everyone at the football club. So as of today, nothing is over yet. It's not a failure of a season. The Champions League still needs to be played. If we win that, then definitely it's a successful season. But yeah, overall, this result just does nothing for no one.
Let me just reiterate myself for a second. When I say I'm talking specifically in the Premier League. If Liverpool and Chelsea and Man United, because I've said this for weeks, I'm not taking my team out. If we're not in title races, the season's a failure for me. The Premier League season's a failure for all of us. And
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's what I mean. Like, there's still Liverpool could still win 3 cups this year. That's a very good season as a football club. There's no doubt. I will come to Tom in a moment. I need to ask. Zain's here. Of course, Mane scored today. Got you off to a flying start, Zain. Like, what was your take on today? Because Liverpool, though, have been conceding lots of goals. More goals conceded again today. Your best defenders in, probably Byron Robertson. You had the best, what you call the best DM in the league in your team. But why do you keep throwing away these leads this season? You're on mute.
All right. This has been happening all season. I've been saying it from the start. We're too open. We ain't got the tools. Our midfield is too weak. And everyone's like, blah, 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 back your team, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what you're chatting about. We let another 2-goal lead slip. We did that against Brentford, Man City. When are people going to wake up and realise we're not it this season, bro? We're not this season. I love my team to be.
That isn't the question, Zain. The question is, why are you leaking so many goals? What is your opinion as to why?
The midfield, man. I keep saying now, look, everyone keeps saying, like I said it last time we talked about, I said we miss Ronaldo, we miss that kind of thing, because today, Henderson, if you look at that picture you brought up, who was like 2-3 yards behind up the thing. If you bring up that picture, you'll see Henderson was too slow and not reactive. Yeah, you could argue that Van Dijk should have come across, but again, even you called that in that picture, Terry, did you? That Van Dijk was marking someone. So what does he do to risk it, right? And I keep calling it out. Henderson has not been up to it this season. Our midfield needs to support our defenders. Yes, and all you man have been on my case, but he's our captain, blah, blah. I want some honesty from my fans. Today, man, tell me if you felt Henderson played well. Because the first goal, I know it was an amazing goal, but guess who was too late to close him down? Henderson was too slow to close down KOVACIC on the edge of the box again, bro.
So you feel like Henderson was at fault for both goals?
I would say he had a part to play in the first one. The first one was amazing goal. So you got to give credit to Kovacic. I'm not going to take that away from Kovacic, but you would like to think that your players would break their necks to go out there and throw their body and just put him off as much as possible. If you watch the highlights of the first goal, you'll see Henderson was too late to it. He was ball watching again. Second goal, again, you saw the picture. You brought the picture up. That player behind, who's the Chelsea? It was the Chelsea player who scored. Pulisic. Right? Who was the Liverpool player behind him? 3-4 yards behind him.
Terry, can you put up the picture again on the screen?
Put the picture up.
No, Henderson was behind him.
Yeah, can you put? Because
Henderson, can you see that Henderson, bro? You could argue, oh yeah, Van Dijk should have come across, but if you called out, look, Van Dijk is covering his man. You've got
I get in these situations. What I find
Terry, just before we remove the picture, and I don't want to interrupt, just look when Trent. I still remember the goal vividly. When Trent clears the ball with a header, Konate is way too high compared to Van Dijk. Look at Konate; he's bottom right.
Yeah,
he's literally ahead of
he's closing down Kante. Because
that was poor positioning.
Our right central midfielder. You know what? I'm butting in here, and it's just Jordan Henderson. I cannot get how he stayed on that football pitch today. He lost the ball every 3 touches. Across the whole match, he lost the ball every 3 touches. There is no excuse for that. In a game where you're away from home at a title rival, you need control. You need a cool, calm head in the midfield. And we've got Jordan Henderson being a bottle job. There is no excuse for that today. And Zain, this is one game, and I do want him to be dropped after this because there is no excuse for that. What he done today was just beyond me. I'm not blaming Konate for that goal because we are chasing it. From the moment Salah loses out to Rudiger, we've got players trying to make up space. But Jordan Henderson's leaving because he wants to play. He wants to be touch tight with Fabinho, our own player. It's just beyond me.
I hear you. Look, I thought him and Milner were poor today. Obviously, was it Milner that gave away the foul for the free kick?
I thought Milner was all right. You know,
Milner wasn't bad, but he did give away the foul.
But this comes down to 2 things. Like, well, one thing they can't help. They're getting older. FSG again, and we said, and this is the maddest thing for me. So when I'm bantering, but when I'm giving honest football opinions, I mean these things. I mean these things here. I just watched that goal back again. I'll get onto that goal in a minute because I can't obviously show it, but I'm just watching it on TV again. When you watch the footage, it's different to looking at a still. But FSG, I said in the build-up to this season, Liverpool squad, barring last season's level of catastrophic injuries, guaranteed top 4. Would expect nothing more than that. But I said if they don't make some major signings between now and the end of the window, and this came up with about 3 weeks to go, I didn't think you'd be able to challenge for the title. And I was just met with a barrage of abuse. And we did it. The squad this big, won it 2 years ago, competed 3 years ago. I'm like, yeah, but you're 3 years older and it's harder. And other teams around you have got better. I feel like Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool fans have been let down this season, in my view, by your football club. Liverpool Football Club, owned by FSG, have let you down by not investing in enough players. A squad not quite being big enough. In terms of this goal that's just gone in, and I'm watching it again now, so I'm actually going to rewind it a second and explain. Trent does nothing. Trent comes out and makes the right header. What you see, Henderson isn't in the right position. Konate does come out. Konate comes out to close down Kante, which he should do. Henderson then doesn't go with his runner. Henderson
because Henderson makes a move.
Henderson is then ball watching and doesn't run in. However, at the same time, Van Dijk makes the right call. But this is where I still think Van Dijk has a point to play because he's letting a man run through and have a clean through shot on goal. For me, you close the player down, even though it wasn't your original responsibility. If he then cuts it back to the guy you were marking and they score, they were going to pretty much score anyway. Like I think he took the wrong. He made the choice by not closing him down there.
What I would say is quite often you see these kind of circumstances when Alisson is playing and Van Dijk continues to go with his runner and he leaves basically a one-on-one with Alisson. And this season, in terms of one-on-ones, Alisson's been impeccable. So I understand why, because every team plays differently. I can understand why people might say Van Dijk should have gone out to close him, but quite often you'll see in these scenarios, and you'll see it again in the rest of the season. Van Dijk will normally just go with his runner, and leave the one-on-one to the goalkeeper and trust the goalkeeper.
Exactly. Let the goalkeeper do his job, bro. That's what he's there to do.
But you see, Kelleher doesn't really come out in the same way, and
I don't think any goalkeeper saves that though. I thought Kelleher was our man of the match today. I thought.
I was going to say he saved. Not the whole game, not the whole game, just Liverpool.
The Liverpool man of the match, in my opinion, was Fabinho.
What?
In my opinion.
He got dominated.
I thought Fabinho had won the match.
I don't think he played bad. I don't think he played bad, but he was left out to dry by the fact that Jordan Henderson and Milner played every other position.
And that's why he was. And that's why he's my man of the match for Liverpool, not overall. Overall game. You know what I said? You know what I said overall? I said no one has that. I said no. David, who do you think is the Liverpool man of the match?
Your midfield got overran. I'm giving it Kelleher. He literally.
No way.
He made that brilliant save.
And he stopped Pulisic's. He stopped Pulisic twice. Literally, Pulisic had a hat trick today.
He did. You are right. However, I don't think. Look, here's the thing. Let's forget all this man of the match shit. No one cares. Listen. All of us here, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, the host, every single one of us have seen Premier League champions. We have seen teams that have won leagues. Today's game is literally an indication. It just shows you why we will not win the league. It shows you for both teams why neither team is good enough to win the league. Because if City were 2-0 up, they win that game. If City come back from 2-2 down, they win it 3-2. So this is just an indication. This result does nothing. It does nothing for us. It does nothing for you. This result literally just means City are winning the league. That's it. There's no need for us to even.
I do get that, but I still feel like that's a slight deflection because your team, your squads, your teams, pound for pound, are there or thereabouts. The difference between I've seen Liverpool much better than this defensively. Last year, when you were conceding goals, you all said it's because Van Dijk's missing. This year, it's our defense is too weak. I look at it, it's more of I don't necessarily think it's individual players all the time or the midfield. I think people have found a way of scoring against Liverpool and have done for well over a year, and Jurgen Klopp hasn't adjusted his team system to accommodate that. Your high line is catching you out on a very regular basis, irrespective of who plays. That's what I noticed. And yes, of course, you concede more goals when you don't have the best centre-back in the world playing in your team. That's a given. And I feel like more focus needs to be had on why you're not getting through things and why your teams both lack. And my club's in the mud as well, so I'm not pointing fingers. And we're talking elite level spectrum here. Why both your teams lack the mentality to see games through. Why Chelsea have gone from barely conceding a goal for nearly 12 months to conceding in nearly every single one of the last 9 games. While Liverpool have thrown away leads all season in games. That's not because you're a bad team. There's something mental in that, in my opinion.
But the year we won the goals has been lapses in judgment. Literally every single goal is a lapse in judgment.
The year we won the league,
David, we can say the same thing. You don't understand this whole thing. This whole narrative you're running is just idiotic.
The thing is that when you concede,
Chelsea did not deserve to win. Stop, man. You're embarrassing your sponsor.
Chelsea, hold on, no, Hisham. They did because what did we?
We
sat and played on.
They didn't. I don't know what game you guys are watching. They did not deserve to win at all.
Hold on. Listen, do you know why I say for us it's lapses in judgment? Because every time we concede, most of the time we concede a goal, it's not the same mistake. That goal you conceded today is almost identical to the goal you're conceding at Leicester. That's clearly a system thing.
Okay, tell me what's the lapse of judgment for the second goal, please.
The second, we have 2 players marking each other, and they've just let Salah run in behind. One of them tracks.
Okay, so instead of crediting Trent's pass and Salah's finish, you just want to say lapse of judgment. That's like me saying. 1 second. That's like me saying KOVACIC who scored one of the goals of the season. The reason that goal happened is because Henderson didn't close him down. Let's not. No team deserves to win today, bro. No team deserves to win today.
What I'm saying, regardless of whether I think we should have won or not, that doesn't matter. My point is that's not a system thing. That's literally just players not thinking at the right time.
Kovacic's goal is not a system thing either.
That first goal we conceded, that's not a system. That's Chalobah.
First goal we conceded. That is not a system. Same thing.
How is no. Oh my God! What
See?
is it so difficult to argue with people?
See how because you know what I'm saying is
No.
factual.
No, because I'm saying that your second goal is you are conceding goals where players are not marking their runners because some players are pushing out here and going over here. That is consistently happening.
Your second goal, our second goal is because your team is doing the same thing. So what's your point?
Different reasons, because of lapses in judgment. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying the same thing. You're trying to. The problem is you're attributing our goals to your individual mistakes, but ignoring our individual mistakes for your goals. Like your goals were somehow some sort of brilliant Chelsea. One second. Like your goals were some sort of brilliant. 1 second, David. Like your goals were some sort of brilliant Chelsea thing, but our goals was, oh, Chelsea made mistakes. Let's not do that, because I can do the same thing. Instead of me sitting here and saying KOVACIC had a wonderful volley, oh, Henderson could have closing them out. Instead of me saying Pulisic's goal this, I could have said, oh, Konate and Anderson, blah, blah, blah. So I could do the same thing for both of us. When you say Chelsea deserve to win the game, that's not true.
I'd have a difference of opinion. That's just it. I just think
it's fine. You can have a difference of opinion and be wrong.
I think ours is just our players are making really poor decisions, because we weren't conceding many chances and now we are, and it's often from stupid mistakes.
It is what it is.
Can I say something to you guys? Sorry, can I jump in here?
Sorry, Rack.
The season we won the league, what one of the things that characterised the long winning streak we went on is we would get a league, and then we would control the game, and then we would look for our opportunities to score. This season, we've been losing control of games way too frequently. And ultimately, if you do that, and if you're playing the system that we play, and you give away chances, then you're going to allow people to get back into it. That's not just in terms of on the ball. Look, Henderson has some blame to take in terms of closing down, but Milner should not be giving away that free kick in the first place. That was a stupid free kick to give away in a stupid area. And ultimately, that allowed them to create the chance. Milner is a very, very experienced player. He does it way too often, where he goes in, he leaves a leg in, or he leaves his arse in, or something like that, and it gives away free kicks. And we need to stop doing that, because if we do that, that will give people chances. And ultimately, look, it's almost impossible now.
Do you know what I would say? Again, I'm going to go to you in a second, Zain. We've got like some people backstage. We're going to rotate the panel soon. I've got some of the big talking points to go through as well. Viewers, make sure like buttons are being smashed. And I am going to go to your super chats in a minute. I know lots of them have come in. Arsenal and Brentford proved the point in the last few days. Something I've been thinking about for a while. Man City are very good. They're amazing. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But everybody's scared to have a go at them. Everybody's scared to try and lay a glove on them.
I know where you're going with this.
No, I am, and I know what I'm saying is true. I believe it in my heart of hearts. Arsenal and Brentford, 2 games running, really went at City, and they neither got slapped. City weren't scoring 4, 5, 6 goals like they've done in previous games where people just bottle it as an example. They didn't win. Arsenal, a little bit of naivety cost them a player on the pitch. But if they would have been 11v11, I think Arsenal would have won that game yesterday, in my opinion. When I've seen Liverpool this season, teams have grown more confident in the last 18 months to try to beat Liverpool. They're not as scared of Liverpool as they used to be. Chelsea, people are doing the same thing. They fancy themselves a little bit more. They're a bit more confident. They commit an extra person to moving forward. Sport, tactics and coaching and all that is very key. Mentality is 80% of it. And I feel like teams go, right, we can get something. We've seen them lose 2-goal leads 4, 5, 6 times this year. We can do something similar. You know, there's a reason why in the back end of Ollie's career at Man United, everybody, including Watford, fancied beating us and beating us bad because they could see there was holes and problems within the team. Man United are gettable. And I think that that's happened to a degree, and I'm talking elite end of the spectrum. I'm not comparing you guys to mid-table teams or lower down the level teams. People just fancy they might be able to get something out of it. And I think it's a big mentality shift that needs to happen. There isn't a huge difference in the squads between Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, in my opinion. Not a huge difference. All of you have got world-class players. All of you have got an abundance of quality. All of you have world-class managers. The reason they're in front of you is they just have a bit more of a fear factor about them in over this course of the last 12 months, and they've really drummed that home.
I don't know if it's that easy to simply just go at Man City though, because I don't think most teams have the tools to be able to do that. Like if Burnley come out and go at Man City are going to wipe the floor of them.
I understand going at them and attacking them, but I'm talking about not being, whatever your system is, not being scared. What I saw with Liverpool, Arsenal and Brentford as an example, not being scared. What I saw when you guys played Leicester and Spurs in your recent games, they weren't scared of you. where I just didn't see any fear. They went out there and believed in themselves.
We're not giving them a reason to be scared. When we won the league and when we got 97 points, we would strangle teams out in the sense of if we nicked a goal, you weren't coming back because we'd dominate the midfield. We could play back to the defence. And if you got pressure on, you'd spray it over the top. Jordan Henderson this season has been offering no sense of control. The only games we really want to look comfortable in is when you have Thiago and Fabinho together in a double pivot. And you sort of sacrifice Henderson to go and do what he wants because at this point he's not listening to anything. I'd love to see his heat maps because then they don't make it for a right central midfielder. It seems he plays everywhere, but at the minute you need Thiago so much. When Keita came on, I thought we got the Ox sub wrong because I don't think Ox was a striker. I think when Ox went off, we lost the focal point. We couldn't get the ball and hold it up like Jota was doing. When Ox came on, that was gone. But when Keita came on, we had so much more control down that left-hand side. Tsimikas had a number of opportunities to get into that box and cut it back. But the right-hand side, there's a reason that for our goal, our second goal, where you got people going, oh, look at how deadly that right-hand side is. Jordan Henderson practically stood on... He's practically been the linesman. He might as well just do that because that was in the position he was in. It was just Salah and Trent because there's just no... I hear you on that.
The thing is as well, Terry,
I've just got to say your piece. I've got to do these super chats. I've got so many of them to get through.
I just wanted to say this. Like, look, when it comes to the Wijnaldum thing, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I miss him. I don't miss him. I think it was time for him to leave." However, at the end of the day, we didn't replace him, and that's where the error lies. The error is not keeping him. The error is not replacing him. Now, the problem. Let me just say this because Terry, I thought you were going to take a different angle when you spoke on Brentford and Arsenal. Now, the problem is, as a Liverpool fan, my entire life is built on hope. That is the only thing my entire life is built on. In my DNA, there's just hope for no reason whatsoever. Even when we're never good enough, there is hope always. Now, the problem is, here's some sort of hypothetical scenario. Now, this is extremely unlikely. There's a bigger chance of me dating Shakira, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think when it comes to this season, City are also not an infallible team. City could easily drop points. Now, the problem we have is the same thing we did 2 seasons ago when we won 19 in a row. We need to do that again. So in that hypothetical rainbow-like scenario where there's roses and everyone's happy, where we win 19 in a row, maybe we could somehow win it up. But besides that, I generally think there's 18 games left. There is no hope, like, you know. But for me personally, look, I'm gonna be real with you because of the statements Terry made, which is accurate. If we do not win the Champions League for me this season, I think it's just an utter failure because you cannot have 10 players in their prime and a young, experienced right back for you in the end to just, you know, go ahead and win a Carabao Cup. Respectfully, if we were to win in the Carabao Cup, then just sell all these players, buy a bunch of youngsters, and just do a cup run like Arsenal are doing or some shit. So, you know, we have to win either the big years or the Premier League. Now, if we win the big years, we equal AC Milan, so we become second. If we win the Premier League, we equal Man United in league titles. So it's win-win regardless. But win neither, and then we have problems. So,
again, stop leaking these goals. And you ain't winning nothing when you're leaking these goals. I've got these
I agree.
I've got these super chats here. How good was the Kante Kovacic pivot? I thought he did very, very well today. Do you know what, Kante, his footballing ability is just never spoken about. Is in terms of how he can pass and move the ball. He's very good. Pauline, thank you for this super chat. No words, but thank you. Rapstar says, no shock. We start getting control of the game better when Konate came on. Hendo and Milner need to be squad players. Never understand why Klopp keeps persisting, pushing Henderson forward. He's a liability. AK7 here from Twitter Spaces. Hope you're good, brother. He says, great chat earlier. Big up to my boy Zain, sticking it on them. Deluded Chelsea fans. Unlimited funds. Unlimited deluded. CFC Florida says today's result did not help either club, but the season is not over in my humble opinion. If Man City likely to win, yes, not in the bag though. Ashley Collins says Liverpool play way too direct at times. They're bound to lose the ball if they keep going straight at Mane and Salah, giving opponents more chances. If Ruben Diaz wins the Champions League, he's better than Van Dijk, is this claim?
Oh my God.
Congratulations to Aaron LFC and his fiancée Victoria on their recent engagement. Longtime friends of the Football Terrace, would mean the world to me if you can give them a big shout out for Bands and Clutch. Listen, Aaron,
Daily Telegraph.
Yeah, it's true. I will say this, Aaron, a very long time viewer, member, super chatter. Congratulations to yourself and your beautiful fiancée, Victoria. I wish you many happy returns. Hope you're married.
You should do a section.
Brilliant.
Like, engagements, christenings.
Yeah, like a sex, like
deaths, obituaries.
Obituaries, all of it. But yeah, congratulations. I hope it goes very, very well for you. Yeah, really made up for you. Well done. Congratulations. Make sure you keep super chatting. Now you're married, mate. Like, don't stop. I mean, don't let her control your money. Don't let her control your money. Can't you say we should be honest? Can't you say we should be honest as a Liverpool fan when you slam Mane, who contributed to the goals in the Newcastle game that Salah and Jota scored in? Stop being lukewarm.
Yeah, I want to talk about this stuff, bro. Can I have my chat now?
I've got quite a few more to do. Let me get these done. So a great game to watch as a neutral. Milner cost Liverpool.
Hold on, Milner, we're number 14.
Wow, what a player. So underrated. Rapstar again says, I love Mane, but we need to sell him in this summer, even though it was offside. It was offside. There was a 3-on-1 situation that could have really got the ball, couldn't get the ball out of his feet. Hussein is deluded, is what this comment here says. Chelsea should have won the game. Simple is what Alex says here. Wanted Chelsea to win, but that smug Daniel deserved it.
Where's Daniel?
When United deserve it.
Agreed.
When United want to win the treble or a hat-trick of Premier Leagues, never claim to be the best club in the world. No word for that. FSG is the big culprit. We need refreshments in the squad. We signed Thiago Jota and Costa last season and Konate this season. Both of these teams can get over 80 points. Both can have title-winning form, but City has pushed the standards so high that above 80 isn't enough. Rapstar says Hendo was playing in the false 9 role at some points today. Klopp needs to stop using him in that way.
He was playing the false midfielder role.
Elliot. Yeah. Saskia is a Chelsea fan, says, how is it City are the only team not affected by the Rona? Nothing is over until it is. If they get hit with Rona, I feel like they are due a drop. Zain feels vindicated about Liverpool losing. What a joke is what he says there. I have got some more here as well. You lot are absolutely far too kind. This draw equals loss for us. Let's have it right. You'll never walk alone is what was said there. I will appreciate Trent's defending in the second half. No support from Hendo, but still dealt with everything that came his way. Mendy deserved man of the match over KOVACIC. Yeah, Hussein loves Trent being praised. I did want you to concede that goal where he gave the ball away because I was hoping, the reason I wanted it to go in, my head was like, I wonder what Hussein's going to say to defend him. That a bird shat in his eye. I don't know. It was raining. I don't know.
Terry, I just have one question. Did you pull out the circles for Cancelo yesterday?
What do you mean?
Did you pull out the circles for Cancelo yesterday when he got roasted by Martinelli?
There's no reason because Man City fans said that he was roasted. They weren't they weren't saying. I know it was Konate that was getting roasted, but they didn't try and blame Zinchenko who's on the bench for it. Do you know what I mean? That's the difference.
Lord, give me strength. Lord, give me strength.
Thank you for them super chats. I want to ask you. I know we've got like Prime backstage, Egal backstage, Conroy backstage, Kesh there as well, Mo there. We are going to bring some more people in very soon. I want to ask you guys some questions first, though. First of all, David, should Mane have been sent off in the opening minutes?
Oh, I think it's more than a yellow, but it's not a red. So I go with the ref's decision of a yellow.
I think a yellow in 6 seconds or whatever it was says.
Yeah, if he does that in like 30 minutes in or something, then you might look at it different because it was so early. I think he's lucky to get away with it. But yeah.
I don't think it's an elbow. I don't think it's an elbow per se.
He leads with his elbow, but
I think he leads with the arm, but he knows that he's leading with the arm.
All I'm saying is Graham Souness said it was a red card, so
No, man. All Mane was doing is under pressure because
He was under. It was 6 seconds.
So he wanted to let he wanted to put one on the guy just to let him know, boy, I'm on your case today, bro. Do you get me? And that's the thing.
Then you're backing Mane.
He put one on him, bro. It wasn't a red card. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna show you today, bro. I'm on it.
That's an orange card.
He's been under a lot of pressure. 8 games without a goal or assist that I've been calling out. So this brother had to come step up from the start.
Yeah,
But look,
I'm sure Sadio Mane sat in before the game going, let me just get right in on Zayden. I've got a question to my Zayn from the football tennis.
I don't know why fans are shaking their head, bro, because suddenly now they're all flip-flopping. Flippity flop, 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 these Liverpool fans, bro. I've been calling out Henderson. He's been dead all season. Oh, you can't say that. He's a captain. Guess what, bro? He's dead.
Like a child. Shut up.
Tom's now accepting the fact that I've been saying all season. He's dead.
Oh, here we go. Zayn.
No one says you're wrong.
And you lot all like, oh, you can't cuss Mane. Oh,
no one.
They ain't going to win the team. Suddenly now you're like, oh, guess what?
Tom, just let him go. Let him go. This is going to be long.
All you fake flip-floppity, Merseyside communists, all you do is follow these Twitter,
you
man.
fucking idiot.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I'm keeping it real.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. I just stick to my
Keep
opinion
it going.
Keep
it going, mate. Come on.
You
Keep it
not
going.
you flippity properties.
Mhm.
Oh, no, Zayn, you're talking shit. Oh, now. We're not going to win now. Oh, maybe just go to the cup. Oh, the cup. Well, I said that we've got a realistic chance to win the cup. Oh, shut up, bro. So I'm calling it out again, bro, man, because I've been quiet, listening. I've been waiting, giving you enough rope.
You're a fucking child, mate. You're a child.
Okay. Are we done? Are we done, Zayn? Can I now say my piece? Because I was actually going to back you. I was going to say you haven't been wrong with Henderson all season, but you jumped.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Big up, Tom. Thank you.
Well, you jumped the gun. You go straight from instead of him being dropped, he should just be sold. And it's the same with Mane. You jumped the gun a bit too. There's no a second stage.
Show me where I said he got sold, bruv. Show me that evidence, bruv.
Do you say?
So
Zayn, why do you always feel happy when results don't go our way, but you're vindicated? I just don't get that.
I'm not happy. What I'm happy about is exposing you fake fans, bruv. You're
a moron. Who's you fake fans? Who's you fake fans?
Zayn, slow down for a minute.
Who's the fake fan? Who's the fake fan?
Who's fake? Who's a fake
fan?
Who's
fake?
All you man down there, do you not say that? Oh, say why you say we can't challenge for the league? Now suddenly it's like, oh, 1 week later, 7 days later, oh shit, we're not challenging for the league. So when I say it, I'm chatting shit. And suddenly, 7 days later, like Bobo.
None of us here said that. None of us here said that anyway. Also, no one's gonna call you fake for making a prediction. Like,
back the team, bro.
This guy just feels vindicated for Liverpool dropping points. I don't get this obsession.
No. You lot are big chatting me like, oh yeah. What do you mean you're not a real fan? You got
hold on. Zayn. If I don't.
No one here calls you that. No one here calls you that.
Hassan, give me a second. If I don't,
you can't say fake fan. All of the people who call you a fake fan.
If I don't back the team, I'm a fake fan. Yeah, I should want Henderson gone and Mane gone, who are part of the team. So how does that really make sense?
Because he's past it. Henderson, I've never said sold him. I'm just saying he's not past it. Since he's got his big contract now, he ain't performing, bro.
But you call him a donkey. I don't know how much wage you could get.
What?
Angry at the universe for no reason.
We're going to refresh some of the panel now. We're going to bring in EGAL. We're going to bring in Conroy. We're going to bring in Mo. We've still got Kesh and Prime to come. Zayn, Tom, Rack, thank you very much for coming on, guys, and having your say. I really appreciate it. I'm going to do 1 out, 1 in.
I'm going to hop off as well, Terry.
Okay, mate, no worries, bro. Take care. Thank you very much. EGAL in the show with us now. Don Hussein gone. Kesh. Actually, we'll bring Prime in as a Chelsea fan here. Zayn, top man for coming on. Thank you. Oh, actually, yeah. And then Mo is here. We'll get Kesh on in a few moments' time. How you all doing, gents?
All right.
Enjoyed the game.
Yeah, neutral, definitely. Conroy, I like your hair. Your hair's looking nice.
Well, thanks, mate. I used to hide the big forehead, so thanks for
that. I got you guys there. We've got obviously Kesh and we've got Daniel here joining us as well now for the remainder of the show. I want to go to EGAL first. EGAL's been sitting backstage with a big smile on his face. What are you saying?
Terry, how are you guys doing? First of all, that was a wonderful game of football for the neutrals. Seeing Liverpool and Chelsea both drop points as I predicted, and now Chelsea dropping that many points where the title race is completely over for them. Liverpool also their title race almost looked over. And you know what? Man City is the big favorites now, and they're the big winners of today's game. But let's talk about Chelsea, guys. Let's talk about Chelsea. Chelsea, the Lukaku thing's hilarious in itself. I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to stick to the facts. We spoke about after the Manchester United game, people said, "Oh, Jadon Sancho broke Thomas Tuchel, this, that." No, Sean Dyche broke Thomas Tuchel in Chelsea. You want to know why? Since that game, you guys have dropped 15 points in the league. In all competition, you guys got dropped 18. You guys drew 7 games in all competition, and you lost 1. So it just goes to show you in this mold. As quick as you guys were this great team, defensively not conceding nothing, you guys have now conceded 15 goals in that time period. And everybody's talking about this world-class defense. It didn't look world-class in that first opening goal to Mane. You know what? Liverpool did drop a bottle it because they had a 2-goal lead. But at the end of the day, no credit to Chelsea. Great performance. But overall, you guys are in the mud. All you guys who predicted at the beginning of the season, you guys were going to win the league. You guys were going to do this. You're going to do that. You're not doing none of that. At the end of the day, I didn't come on here with chest and say we're going to win the league, and then a couple of weeks later change my mind and say, oh, we're not good enough. We're not ready. Our team's doesn't have squad depth. This, that. Marcus Alonso this, Marcus Alonso that. Because at the beginning of the season, when he was firing and Chilwell was injured, you guys are saying, oh, we have 2 of the best left backs in the league. I remember people comparing him to Robertson, saying, oh, he's got more goals contributions than Robertson in the beginning of the season. And now you guys are complaining. Liverpool had more players missing in this game from their starting 11 than you guys did. They had their manager missing. They had so many things. They came to your house. This is now numerous games back to back where people are coming to your house, outplaying you, and you guys have to fight. I'm not going to say nothing else, man. Liverpool.
I want you to say.
Chelsea.
Sorry, guys. I want to ask. You've said all that, and I get it. What's your point, though? What's your statement here? Like, what's your claim? What are you saying?
My claim is Chelsea Football Club. They won that Champions League a little bit too early. They were never going to be this consistent in the league, and you guys were never going to be the title favorites. You guys never were going to win this league. You lacked the consistency. You lacked the leadership, and you lacked the cohesion to win this league. And what is showing right now is everything that I said at the beginning of the season coming back to fruition. That's it.
I think for such a damning statement, you would think that we were 5th in the league, innit? So I'm a bit quite confused about how aggressive you are when we're still 2nd in the league. And obviously, fair enough, I did predict that we would win the league. Fair enough, we don't look like we're going to win it. City are in like pole position to win it. But again, today was an example of showing that we could compete. Talking about Liverpool missing more starters, I don't think that's true. But that's neither here or there, because I think only Thiago, Alisson, and Robertson coming to the side. But let's not move like Tsimikas hasn't benched Robertson in certain games when Robertson has been fit this season. But anyway, that's neither here or there. More time, I want to just speak about the game. And I think it was a very interesting game. 2-0 down. You probably think that maybe Liverpool run away with the game and Liverpool run away with the victory. But I think it was a very, very positive showing, the way that we were able to fight back. I want to refute again one of EGAL's points about us being outplayed. That's actually not been our problem. So I think it's shown that you don't watch Chelsea. You only watch them when they're like the 5:30 game or the 12:30 game, because everyone's eyes are on them. I'll show you that there's only been 2 games where I believe we've been outplayed. Brighton. And yeah, Brighton, in fact, because the Everton game where we drew 1-1, we should have won. The Man United game where we drew 1-1, we should have won. You look at, obviously, we beat Leeds 3-2. I think in this game,
should have beaten Burnley. Should have beaten
Burnley as well. And I refused. Liverpool did not outplay us. I think we had more territorial in terms of when we could have scored. I think we had more of it. I think Liverpool had the better chances, because I just think something that the commentator said, which I thought was spot on. If you swap the front threes of Liverpool and Chelsea, I think we win that game. And it's because of the ruthlessness and the cutting edge that obviously Salah, Mane, and even Jota to an extent have. I think our front three still don't have that ruthlessness, still don't have that cutting edge that I think we are lacking in general. And the Lukaku thing, look, it was a good performance today, obviously showing that the no man is bigger than the team and whatnot. But again, it kind of highlights our issue, because I think we were missing an outlet to get us that goal. We needed that 3rd goal, which I thought was there for the taking. And that's when your striker comes up big. So that this Lukaku thing doesn't just affect us in this short run. Now we're looking at it like what happens going forward. And that's the big worry for me. Like, what happens going forward? Because in a game like today, where we needed a goal, where I think the goal was there for the taking, because today, look, maybe I don't watch Liverpool enough, but I've watched them quite a bit. I thought defensively, the organization, like, it didn't make sense. And I get you're playing a high line and that, but the pockets of space that you were allowing us to play in did not make any sense whatsoever. So it was just a bit annoying for me to see us in so many opportunities. Pulisic had a number of opportunities, so many opportunities, not take the chances that we needed to take. But hey, going forward, look, we need to make sure that we consistently win games, stay in the top 4, because I think we'll get top 4 easily. We've got a good cushion, even if Arsenal win their game in hand as well, still 5 points. So I think we should be comfortable.
Yeah, I hear a lot of what you're saying there.
Harry, 1 second.
Yeah,
Daniel,
go on, mate.
If you actually listen to what I said, I was saying that's 2 games back to back where someone came to your house and outplayed you for stints.
They didn't.
At the end of the day, I wasn't talking about every single game.
Liverpool
did not outplay us.
Liverpool didn't outplay us. Liverpool didn't
They did not
outplay us.
outplay
They did not outplay you to have a 2-goal lead at the beginning of the game. I said
They didn't
stints.
outplay us. Egal. No. If you're going to say a point, let me
stop nitpicking and making it seem like you said a brand new statement about every single game.
You said that we have been outplayed. We had more possession. We had more shots. We had more shots inside the box. Like, what do you want us to do? They were winning 2-0. We were still the better team.
Do you know why this point is even more silly as well? I don't even want to get mad yet, but the point is so silly because we're talking about 2 of the best teams in England, arguably 2 of the best teams in the world. To think that Liverpool will not have a stint where they will have possession and create chances is madness.
Okay, what about the Brighton game then?
What you mean about
You're taking away from the point by
Brighton. You can say Brighton outplayed us because for 90 minutes they dominated us, facts, and we didn't deserve to get a point out of that game. Liverpool did not outplay us, bro. It was a normal game where both teams had peaks and troughs in terms of possession.
Okay, to be honest, you guys created your own problems because at the end of the day, if Pulisic would have buried the first chance, you would have been punished by the second goal. I hear that. By the first goal and the second goal, I hear that. But when it comes down to it, you guys have lacked the goals. You guys have lacked the creativity. You guys have lacked the finishing edge. And when it comes down to it, every single game you guys have played, you've been your own worst enemies. And I hear that. I hear all that. But at the end of the day, if you have Liverpool and Brighton back-to-back games in your own house, and you guys are playing like the underdogs, this is not the team that I expected you guys to be at the beginning of the season.
Did we play like the underdogs today? Is that what you think?
Yes, if it wasn't for Kovacic inspiring you guys by getting a wonder goal, you guys were you were done and buried. If that game went to halftime 2-0, you would have lost. The fact that Kovacic raised the level,
she would have
big
been
up Kovacic. Big up the Kovacic. Big up the Kovacic, one of the most underrated players in your team. I rate that guy. But when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it, you are trying to negate the fact. You're trying to negate the fact that back to back 2 teams came to your house and they bullied you guys in certain points of the game.
What? You watched it, bro. Whatever point you're actually trying to make is actually so stupid. Like, are like you trying to troll right now, or are you actually serious in what you're saying? Because it actually does not make sense.
Hey, there's trolling.
Brighton and Liverpool didn't bully you for stints in this game.
Brighton outplayed us. That's fine, fair enough. And they scored late on and they got the draw. Liverpool did not outplay us. If you look at the stats and you actually watch the game, it did not outplay us. If you're saying all of this because you hate Chelsea or it's a rivalry thing or whatever,
the tap is on too tight, bro, because I think your head's heated a bit.
No, but debunk the statement. Actually say something.
And all these if buts and maybes you want to do. If Kovacic didn't score,
I want to bring Conroy in here. Conroy's not spoken yet. He's a Liverpool fan. Like, do you feel as a Liverpool fan that you dominated and bullied Chelsea today?
No, I actually thought it was quite a strange game because Liverpool's biggest issue the last couple of games is finishing, and then they got 2 chances and they're 2-0 up. But I'll be honest, Liverpool got very lucky. I said a tweet, it was like, I think Liverpool won the lottery in the first half, then lost the ticket before the half finished. They were very lucky. Chelsea, Pulisic, I don't know why he's not talking about that. Like, I thought that's a ridiculous miss. I don't know what he's trying to do there. I thought Chelsea, I couldn't understand. I think Rapstar's super chat was actually a good super chat, but I feel like if Liverpool are playing on the counter, which would be a good tactic, we had the line so high. So it just baffled me. The midfield was not in control. I felt Chelsea were getting by constantly. And I actually think it was just a strange game because Chalobah makes a terrible mistake. then we get in. It's a good finish by Mane. And then Salah's finish, to be fair, that's a brilliant finish. That's just the level he's on at the moment. But honestly, I thought it was a strange game. I felt like, I do agree, EGAL. I think if we'd got to half-time, we'd probably win that. But I do feel like it was, if Liverpool had won that today, I would came on and say that's one of the luckiest performances of the season, because Chelsea, I think, were just at it from the start and very unlucky or unfortunate to be 2-0 down. But really, it was, I see if that was like at the start of the season or in a normal, I'd be happy with that point. But today, that just sums it up. Like, we are both not good enough to win the title. I think we've both got defensive frailties. And at times in that game, as much as I think Chelsea overall were the better team, there was times where you could just see Chelsea were open at the back. Not as much as us, don't get me wrong, but you could just tell there was moments.
Well, in that second half, both teams were trying to win because a draw was no good, and you could see that from the way you were all playing. I kind of get where EGAL's coming from. Sam Bob here says, I actually can't read the third word in. Terry, please, is that accentuate? I don't
accentuate. Yeah, accentuate.
Okay, I am reading it. I've just never seen it used in that context. To EGAL, he talks so much sense when he's casting opinions on teams and matches other than when I play. He's spitting facts here. I kind of agree with some of the things that EGAL said in terms of the one that stood out. If KOVACIC doesn't score that goal, Chelsea aren't in it. Equally, yesterday, if City took them 2-headed chances they had in the opening 15 minutes, you may not have battered Man City if they took an early 2-goal lead. You are right. That's football. If it happens a lot, and I don't think you're overtly wrong in that. I just don't think Liverpool bullied Chelsea. That's the only bit where I think you've gone a little bit too far. Kesh, obviously you're a neutral to this, bro. Like, what are you saying about today's game?
I thought Chelsea played quite well, to be honest. I think it doesn't say much that Liverpool got the 2 goals. I think it was by lottery. Great goal from Salah. I think Chelsea fans can actually take credit. There's some of you are fucking idiots, though, I will say. The ones that want to go and get on Tuchel's back. What this proves is you do not need Romelu Lukaku. You won the Champions League last year without him. You should back your manager in what he's done today. And some of those attacking players should actually look at themselves and say, listen, we need to turn up. We don't need to depend on Lukaku being a focal point. Because we've seen Chelsea play games where they've done well without him. Class goal from Salah, class goal from KOVACIC as well. But I've said from the start of the season, I said Liverpool, the likes of Chelsea. When Daniel says we're second, I think when you look back to where Man United was second behind City, yeah, and fans was giving it to Man United fans saying it's not really much. It doesn't really say much because look at the points difference. It means nothing if you're second. I think you have to look at the gap between City and the other 2 teams as of right now. A lot of people do not give Pep the respect he deserves. Second season now, yeah? Without a striker, they're walking the league. Bundesliga, this is what it is this season. Bundesliga. He's walking it. We talk about Farmers League, about other leagues and everything, but look what he's doing. You've got to come. You've got to put. You take your hand up and you give him a clap and you say, "Listen, all this talk that is all about money. It's not all about money. He's put a certain mentality in his team that breeds success. They don't. When you talk about dropping off in standards, yeah, they don't drop off. You ain't seen a drop off like the season where they never had a centre back. Cool, I get it. But in terms of standards, City rarely drops off. And right now, you see the Liverpool team that's dropped off from the standards they've set. And no one's keeping up with them. You just have to just come out and just say boom and give flowers where flowers is due. And that's what I think City just gone about their business, done what they did without a striker.
Kesh, and I agree with you completely. Mentality. When Liverpool won the league at a canter, I remember saying in the December when City started to fall away, I feel like City, after 2 years of just being relentless, there was almost a moment mentally where they cracked, where it was just, can we maintain this level of intensity for another 6 months of football? Or do we subconsciously or do we just let go? It's like we can't keep playing it. It was almost they let go for that 6 months, came second, recharged their batteries and came back. And it's 2 years on the bounce that they've been brilliant again. I kind of feel that City's relentlessness mentally has made Liverpool and Chelsea crack. I don't think the squad-wise are that much better. Interestingly, the money spent is always, you know, my take on the money spent. I know Robertson cost 8 million, but he's an 80 to 100 million pound fullback and he's judged as one. I don't expect you judge him by what he's worth now. All three of these squads are worth what, 9 billion quid. So the expectations should all be fairly similar. The difference is this year, the mentality that Man City have got, the strength of mind that City have got is just superior. That's what
you know what
it comes down to.
You said something before in previous shows where you said, in terms of a team winning the title, like winning it once and then falling away for the next 2-3 years, you'd rather a team that wins it twice, then probably don't win it next year, then go again and win it twice. City's that sort of team. City is that sort of team, and that's what I mean about standards. Like their standards and their consistency is there to be seen. In terms of the game today, in terms of the game today, I think today's game was very similar for Liverpool, like the one against Tottenham. Both teams have had no control in the midfield. It was just end to end.
I agree. Go on, Daniel. You had a question?
Yeah, just a question to the panel in terms of what you think, because in my opinion, I think Liverpool and Chelsea, what they've suffered from, especially this season, is a bit of continuity. I mean, we've both teams have had, and I know, Terry, you said you didn't really.
I've said this 100 times. You're not going to give me credit.
Well, I've not been on the streams where you said it 100 times.
I literally said on the Breakfast show near the beginning of the season, you were there.
I wasn't there. Anyway, and can I ask my question?
Yeah.
There you go.
So, the continuity that Man City have been able to have, where even when they rotate one player, the player they are rotating is still fit. It's not like he's not fit or he's injured and whatnot. Whereas Liverpool and Chelsea have had a lot of key players missing for a large length of time, whether it be COVID, whether it be injury issues. I'm basically asking, do you think City, let's say we take about 4 to 5 players out of that squad, and yes, some people are going to say KDB, but they've still had a nice solid core and depth to replace that. Let's say City had 4 or 5 injuries in one position. Do you think they also cope with that?
I want to say that.
Go on, Mo. Go on, Mo. We'll pass it around. Go on, Mo.
I just one thing about the City thing is that the City team, you remove 1-2 players and the system doesn't change. The way they play is that they press every team, and there is not a lot of teams in the Premier League that have the quality to bypass that press. This is why City, in a 38-game league, they win it against anybody, and that's the difference. And this is why remove Rodri, put Fernandinho, it's the same system. Put Mahrez, put Grealish, put anybody. They are all top players, but they were not these superstars. Like Jack Grealish was great in Aston Villa, but he's not Kevin De Bruyne before he comes to City. We'll see how Guardiola improves this guy. What I want to say is that City injuries are not going to affect the systems. But if we see today, Liverpool today, I'm not going to give credit to Klopp because they actually scored from a mistake from a young player and an individual brilliance from Mo Salah. Like when Mo Salah got the ball, he still had a player to beat. But Pulisic, when he got the ball, it was something that they saw. I think they saw the same exact play in the Leicester game, and Tuchel played the same exact play, kind of similar play. And that happened today many, many times. And that's the difference between Liverpool. They rely on individual brilliance sometimes in games like this. But City, you will see the same goal over and over again, but with different players. And that's a massive difference between someone who plays a cup. Like Liverpool can win the Champions League, but City, they are better in the leagues because they face lower teams more often than when they play in the cup games and Champions League and better competitions.
So it's definitely an interesting take. I mean, City have been, there is no denying the consistency of City over the past 5 years. It's been there or thereabouts. Rapstar here with a super chat says, I don't think it's a mentality thing. I think Chelsea and Liverpool have very strong mentalities. I think City have just managed their situation better. COVID injuries. I
disagree. I'll disagree.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like that thing is mentality. I feel like if you get a big player out, it's half the battle is like, I'll give you an example. One of the mistakes Tuchel made in the last few weeks is when they tried to get their game called off against Wolves, the reaction to not getting it called off was almost, what kind of message does that send to your players that you are asking for a game to be called off? It's almost like desperate. You're playing Wolves. You should still be able to beat them. I think that's a mentality thing. But sorry, Kesh, you were going to say something, bro.
You know, I was just saying I disagree because even before injuries started racking up, you know, that little period before December, you got the COVID and the injuries started racking up. I don't think the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool was playing that great compared to the likes of City. It's all about the self-belief in the squad and the way Klopp's got a system that just works to a T. And when you look at the performances, you've got to give credit. Like, I feel like we always try to paint this little cloud over City just to take credit away from Pep. The system that he's got works to a T. No matter what play you take out of there, yes, they may play a game where they might be a bit more open or so and give chances to other teams, but the performance will still be there. They'll always give a performance, and it's consistent. Fair enough.
See, I hear you, innit? And I fully agree with the notion about Pep dominating this league. Like everything you said, I agree with that. But I'm talking that even that period where we started drawing games, that all started when we started receiving a number of, and that's the same thing with Liverpool, by the way. So it's not just the Chelsea thing. When they started dropping points and drawing games and whatnot, it's when they started receiving 1 or 2 injuries, and it was accumulating. It was multiplying. Look, everything you're saying about City.
Daniel,
let me just land on this point, and then you can go through. Everything you're saying about City was the point that you were or the points that a lot of people were making about Chelsea, where the system this, the system that. You take one player out of the system was great, and I think playing great is so subjective because. Fair enough, a lot of people said the way Chelsea were playing wasn't sustainable. However, in my opinion, I think it was harsh to judge a Chelsea team without the striker that they brought in to help them win the league, if that makes sense. Because remember, the striker was supposed to be the final piece to winning the Premier League, and we didn't have that striker during most of the period where we began to drop points. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but here's the difference, though. All right, cool. You can say the striker that you bought isn't there or haven't been there for a few games to help you win the league yet. But against the smaller teams, yes, you might have won them. But in terms of the chances, I'm just saying, in terms of the smaller teams when you face them, yes, you've won those games. But in terms of the chances created, I don't think you've created that many chances, or your forward players are being clinical enough or dominating games the way City will just dominate for a period of game for like 60, 70 minutes of that game, where you know they're going to get a chance here. They're going to smash them.
But
I don't see that with the likes of Chelsea.
The point I made though on the last stream was, and that's what I'm ready to what's it called, concede. And I don't know if you remember, I said this, Terry. I said that I personally believe that maybe with the same point that I made about Man City last year, where they had never been to a Champions League final and they needed to feel that and know what it was as a group to get to a Champions League final. I think this Chelsea team have put up a decent enough challenge with the circumstances that have come. If you can continue and try and finish the season strongly, I think next season you can come back even stronger because you know what it is to now be involved in a race. And this group isn't going anywhere, so we try and push on from there. I think the only way is up with this team. That's all you can do.
I hear you on that. I want to ask some of you a question here, and I want to go to EGAL first. I want to get Conroy's opinion on this as well, and a few others. In your opinion, are Chelsea and or Liverpool at risk of being dragged into the top 4 race at all?
I think everybody besides Man City is in a top 4 race. My personal opinion, I don't think anybody's going to catch City, and I think Liverpool and Chelsea both can get dragged into this. It's no offense to them. They're both great teams, but from wherever Manchester United are sitting currently in the league all the way to second place, it's all up for grabs.
How about yourself, Roy? Are you concerned about it at all?
Not at the moment, to be honest, because I do think, I've looked at the points there before we came on. I think we've got a game in hand against Leeds. I think that takes us to about 45. And to be honest, guys, we've had, I agree with a lot of what you said, Kesh. The only game I would give us a kind of excuse was, see the Tottenham game. We literally were starting like Tyler Morton in midfield. So I think that's the one game where I would say, I don't really like to make excuses for COVID or injuries, but that was the one game that I thought got us. I do think we'll have different spells where we're in good form. I don't think all the season we've been in great form. We've been in spells of good form, and like people sometimes like to exaggerate that in certain games. Like the Brighton at home is the perfect example. We get 2-0 up, and just I wanted to add, Terry, as well. I think Liverpool this season, there's a common factor of once in the lead in a games losing or dropping points. I mean, that's been a continual theme. The AC Milan game, Brentford game, Brighton game 2-0 up. Man City game, Chelsea game today. So there's a theme in there, and you might see that more. However, I do believe that with the games coming up, I think we will get the top 4, no problem. I would probably say that as well, as I think we'll win more games than the teams around us. So barring maybe Chelsea, who are about the same now, but say like your Arsenal, your Spurs in good form, don't get me wrong, West Ham are about there as well. I just think Liverpool will win more games than those teams.
You just said the most Scottish thing, the now.
Sorry,
you made me laugh.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't think I've done that before. That's the first time.
Proper Scottish sort of phrase there.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I looked at the last 10 games in the form window. The form table's out the window though, because so many games have been postponed. But in the last 10 matches, City have 30 points, Liverpool have 20, Spurs 17, Chelsea 17, Arsenal 15 with only 9 played. Man United only fit 6 with 14, but have only played 7 games compared to most of the teams above them, barring Spurs, have played 9 or 10 games. So it's really hard. What you can see is if, say, Man United win 2 of their games and then draw or lose 1, same as Spurs, everybody's around between 18 and 20 odd points. Man City just on 30. Like everybody, that's the one thing I would say about this. I still think let's wait and see what happens in January is all I'm going to say, because how Liverpool respond to not having, look at today as an example. Imagine they played today with no Mane and no Salah. They lose. They lose in my opinion. They don't have those.
You're saying that Liverpool are like forget the African Cup of Nations. It's you're talking about injuries.
Well, I'm talking about the response from here. If these teams look at themselves as no longer being in a title race, I see a lot of fans saying let's focus on the Champions League only. Both have got to get through January, where there's the African Cup of Nations. You then got Chelsea going off where they're going to miss a couple of games for the World Club Championships. You then have the return of the Champions League. If Spurs and Arsenal, forget Man United, because everybody always thinks I'm talking about my team. So let's just United are finishing 7th. We all agree United are 7th. We're not in this race. I just want to throw it out there so people think I'm not being salty. If Arsenal and Tottenham's form in the league with no European football starts to continue, when you look at the form in the last 10 games, everybody's there or thereabouts with one another. If Liverpool have a bad run while these players are away, Chelsea will lose 2 games over that period of time when they're away. I feel like there's a risk they could be dragged into it because they are in front. But once all these games settle out, if Spurs win all their games in hand right now and not against hard teams, they're 1 point behind Chelsea. I do think there's a slight chance, a very slight chance that we could see those teams dragged into it. I just wanted to try and get other people's take on that. David, are you concerned about that at all? Or do you think that you guys are going to be okay?
I think we'll be okay. I trust our board in January to make the necessary signings because I think it's clear that we need them. But once players start coming back, then I think we should be okay. That's him. I think Arsenal and Spurs are in good form, but I think same way that we've had it, they're also going to run into trouble as well at some point, and they are going to go down in form. They're not going to be performing, having 5-6 win streaks all the time.
Still got to play you as well, David. Still got to play you.
Liverpool they have to play us. Yeah. Arsenal and Tottenham have to play each other in 2 weeks or something in the league. So one of them's going to drop points eventually. It is going to happen. So I'm not too worried for now.
It's amazing to me, David, that the Chelsea fans, every time, I know you got people injured. I know you got Chilwell injured, and now you got Reece James injured. Is every club now going to have a player injured? They have to replace them right away because City are playing without Mendy, right? And they are playing Cancelo.
Mendy was never even in the.
But that's what I'm saying. So you're saying you're saying that every team that has a starter that gets injured, it needs to be replaced. We cannot have this is why in the summer you get a bigger squad.
Depends on your squad depth. Depends on the quality of. It depends on the quality of your. Because look at Man City. I think they may not have a huge squad, but the squad that they have is quality, and they can fill in certain positions. I think in the summer, Chelsea fans overestimated how great our squad depth actually is, and now with a few injuries in key areas, you see the system kind of fall apart because the players that come in are just not of the level on a consistent run of games. So I think it's just based on that.
Do you know what it is, though? I think I'm of the opinion that, and this might be a bit sensationalist of me, but personally, I just think from all the title winners I've seen as a kid growing up, they rarely get injuries. Maybe it's 1, 2 max. but they normally have their full lineup available to them. So I'm just saying, maybe it is a bit of a stretch for me, but is it too much to ask for where all three teams, I know it's impossible, but with COVID as well, but all three teams have their best squad and get to play football and see who the best actually is. Maybe it is
I still think City will win it. You don't think so?
No, but
I still think City will win it.
Tell me a title-winning team that's had 4 to 5 injuries to key players in their lineup. It's never happened.
Am I not mistaken? Didn't Fergie's last title-winning side have like major injuries in the midfield, Terry?
Van Persie, Wayne Rooney, they played and Van Persie was the killer.
We did. I think like we had. I think
Well,
Fergie.
that's one example. In, like,
yeah, I think Fergie did it on a couple of occasions. But again, we are talking the one caveat to that is you're talking about God. Like God managing your team. Like, I'm just saying you are talking about a very different situation. Look, people will throw in that City now are more relentless. So the winners are more relentless now than what Fergie went up against. Yeah, but the squads weren't as deep or as big back then.
Terry, can I ask you a question about this? Can I ask you a question? Do you think
on.
who's the City player that you are all the panels that you guys think that will make the massive difference in their title, like the title winning team now? Give me one player that you think that this player, if he's absent for the rest of the season, this City team will get dragged in the title.
I don't think it's one player. If you go
it's
back,
got to be an accumulation in one position.
Well, if you go back 2 years ago, they didn't have Ruben Diaz. They lost Company, and then Laporte went out for the season. Ake wasn't there. They had no decent centre backs, so they had a big hole in the middle, and they were being kind of exposed through it. As an example, so again, it's an accumulation of those things.
With that, I think with that situation, that was self-inflicted for me. I've said it many times. I think Guardiola is to blame for not winning that title. City's system is that good; they could have played a young centre back, and he could have got them through games. I'll tell you that for free.
Maybe you're right, but again, that goes down to mentality. How you handle a situation tells you everything you need. So, for instance, say Chelsea spend all January scraping about for new fullbacks, don't land one, and then turn around to some kid and go, "We've got so much faith in you. You're going to be the right guy." He ain't going to believe you got any faith in him because you'd have brought him in 5 weeks ago. You know, sometimes it's how you handle a situation. Like Pep spent so much time moaning about the injuries and the problems. You can't then promote someone and go, "You've got faith in them," because you didn't. You wouldn't have moaned. Like if you legit had a centre back in your academy that could get you through, you just put him straight in. I think sometimes managers just get it wrong, and he did that year. And I don't think the injuries are look. They're an excuse to not win the league. I look at Liverpool as an example. Where Liverpool are now, I predicted at the start of the season. Comfortable in top 4, but they'd fall away from a title race because the squad wasn't big enough. And even from the point of view it's about players all being in form. And you've had Mo Salah in great form this year, which is Mo Salah's form as an attacker is one of the reasons they were in the title race. As soon as his form hasn't even dipped, he literally went 2 games without scoring. But nobody else. When they won the league, Mane was in good form. Firmino was in good form. This year, Jota's done well. Mane's been disappeared really for the last 11, 12 games or so. They haven't had that cohesion up there. The midfield hasn't been as strong. And that's because FSG didn't put enough money in. FSG didn't do enough for Jurgen Klopp to make them ready to compete. And it isn't even always squad size, because if you actually look at the squad size of Chelsea, Liverpool and City's is the smallest squad. You put it in the group chat the other day, Kesh. It's about who you've got and the overall quality. We all have a habit of overplaying how good our squads are. But when Origi went through that couple of week period of scoring goals, people like Round were coming on saying, "See, I told you our squad depth was good, Terry. Look at Origi." It's like, bro, he had a purple patch of 2 games. Like, let's see what it's a madness. They need. I
want to say a statement. Just one statement, because like sometimes fans, like today, people said Milner was good, and then they kept saying Tsimikas was good. Sometimes your best is not good enough. Sometimes your best is not good enough. Like Milner's best is not good enough to win a Premier League. Sometimes Alonso's best is not good to win the Premier League, and this is what some fans need to realize. And this is what some Arsenal fans realized like last year, and some of them realizing this year. They say, even if we play our best, this team is not good enough to challenge for the title. And this is what, as you said, Terry, the squads, maybe they're a smaller squad, City, but the quality, if everybody in that squad put their best, they are good enough to win the league.
I hear you. I do hear you on that. It does make. I get where you're coming from. In relation,
Terry,
yes.
I just want to tell you something. I just did the research. Daniel, how you doing, bro? You still there? Yeah. The 31st of August this year on the Football Terrace, on the show, it was the transfer deadline show. We were speaking about who were title favorites, right? And I specifically said to you and Chelsea fans that were in the panel that day, you guys don't have the consistency and you still have a young team that is getting there, but I don't think you guys can do it this year. Maybe you can do it next year. And you fully verbatim challenged me on that point. So I'm just saying, I have the proof, I have the facts. I can show you this. I can show you the screen right now if you want to see it. You're right there in the corner, my friend.
Calm. If you said that, then congratulations. I'll send you a medal in the post.
Egal. Wait, hold on.
I'm just telling you, when someone comes at you at a point and you consistently do that with me, whenever I talk about Chelsea, you just say, "Oh, you're being Arsenal biased." But when I'm spitting facts,
I didn't say you were Arsenal biased. Wait, hold on. And second of all, hold on. He's directing at me, so let me respond to him. Second of all, the main thing that we no, don't apologize, please, before they say I'm condescending. Please.
No, you're not.
But what's it called? No, the main point that I was challenging was the fact that you said that we got outplayed by Liverpool and David, Prime, even Conroy, that we all agreed and said that that wasn't the case. So that was what I was coming at you for. I can hold my hands up if that's the case, and I was on that stream and you said that, that's fine. It was a long time ago. We're now in the new year. Let's new year, new EGAL. Do you know what I mean? Let's move forward now. Yeah.
So you take that back. So you take back the second part of the argument.
Yeah, I take back the second part.
Okay, done.
Yeah, I feel to Daniel. All he said is he just doesn't remember you saying it. He didn't say you did. Definitely didn't say it. He said, I don't remember you saying that. But listen, and the gal, look, you definitely get things right. Everybody gets things right in their predictions. It's crazy. It's like one of the maddest things for me is we all predict different teams to win the league. What we expect people to do. One of my reasons for predicting Chelsea is I predicted Chelsea to get better and better over the course of this season. Their young squad to get better, Havertz and the likes to get better. That's just what a prediction kind of is. And sometimes you get them right, sometimes you get them wrong, sometimes they take longer. When you said, Egal, a few summers ago that you guys should sell Aubameyang, it's only been up until now that like nobody thought you were right. Now they're going to actually 2 years ago, Egal was right. It's like it took 2 years for your thoughts to be believed or thought of by other people. Does that make sense? It kind of is what it is. I was getting pelters from Liverpool fans a few weeks ago because they said that their defense was fine and I shouldn't ever be talking about it and it was wrong, but I turned out to be right. Equally, when City was struggling to score goals in 33% of their games for the first quarter of the season, they turned that around. And it's like, well, Terry, why do you even mention it? It's not it's just the way it is, bro. Sometimes you get things right, sometimes you get things wrong, but you were right on this one, Egal. Big up yourself, brother.
I think the main thing that this is the point that I wanted to bring up separately, and obviously, fair enough, it's probably going to give rivals ammunition, but more time I'm directing it at Prime and David. I just think that especially now with the Lukaku situation, and you don't really know what's going to happen with that. And there could be the potential that we play better. However, we're still going to have that same issue, which we saw today as well, where clinical finishing is going to be an issue, where we might not be able to win games off of one chance because we don't have that striker. And do you think, especially David, innit, because you're the one who really puts him forward, but do you think that now 2 years in, going into his third year but second season, do you think Havertz is showing what he should be at this stage of his Chelsea career?
No, to be honest. But again, he's lacking consistency. This is his problem. He never gets a run in the team because he either gets injured or he gets COVID or he's not playing well. I thought he'd be further ahead in his thing. Again, lucky for him, he's got 5 years, so he can have these bad 2 seasons, I guess. But then next season, it's extra pressure because then he's got to be on it for 3. He has to be on it for 3 years to make it worth it. But I mean, ultimately, he is young and he should get better with time. I think that's with most of our players. They will get better with time. I think now is a bit too early. That was one of my concerns at the start of the season. I said I think our team's just not quite there. That's why I said we wouldn't win the league. But
similar to Martial at Man United, to be honest. I think it's all the ability, but we have to be honest. Not every player's got the minerals. You can have all the ability. If you can't apply it in the Premier League, then it's worthless.
Yeah, do you know? And what it comes down to is, well, it's just time. That young players can notoriously be inconsistent. I was talking about the Arsenal players that are flying at the minute. Like, if you're a gooner, don't be shocked in 2 months' time if one or two of these youngsters are not playing horribly. That's probably the wrong word to use, but are not scoring and are a bit overwhelmed and go through these bad patches. I would, though, 18 months in, be expecting a little bit more from Kai Havertz now. He's just, for me, the progression is really stalled, and you need to see a little more from him. And again, there's differences for certain players. I know he's had a manager change halfway through. You've had Sancho come here and not play. That's why I want this system to work out quickly. I want to see him get a bit of time to work and move forward. But you've got to hold all players to the same standards. And when you cost 80 million quid, you need to see there needs to be that steady progression. The same way as you saw over 2.5 years, Mason Mount get better and better. The way we've seen Saka get better and better. You've got to hold everybody to those same standards.
Let me ask you a question. I know this is a little bit left field, but after seeing what Lukaku's done to Chelsea and the manager and everything, and putting on Facebook his location still Inter Milan and doing all these things that he's been doing, interviews, do you think this is a little bit more disrespectful than what Xhaka did? Because I know Xhaka did it on the pitch, and he said,
"Yeah, but I don't think anything Xhaka did was disrespectful. I think it was unprofessional. Your fans were sending him messages hoping that his wife dies of cancer. He has every right to swear at you. Like the Xhaka one's always a weird one to me. It's like he probably shouldn't have swore at you all in that, but he was in the heat of the moment. Xhaka, he'd been getting death threats, people wishing illness on his wife, abuse online, and he had a moment of madness in a game where the passion is high, and he just swore. It ain't like 95. And after people I saw on socials, the way they talk about football players, like they've got no reason to be butthurt by it.
Lukaku is calculated.
He's calculated. He's going about it. The Xhaka thing versus Lukaku.
It's in the moment. In the moment.
In the moment when you're angry, we say and do things. Me and you, we're all out as a group of gal. Me and you get into a Barney. We both get a bit heated and get in each other's faces. That's like two geezers, bit angry in the moment. Shouldn't have done it. I shouldn't have pushed you. I shouldn't have got you in a headlock, a gal. I shouldn't have done all that. But it's over with. If I spend the next 2 or 3 weeks planning how I'm going to get you back, that's evil. That's calculated. That's nasty. And I feel like what Lukaku, I didn't know about this Facebook thing. People have been telling me it's getting worse and worse with this Lukaku thing. And but the thing is, though, he knows what he's doing as well. He ain't stupid. This is the thing when you're a player, you behave like he'll just get what he wants. What I'd actually love billionaire Roman to do is say, "Don't worry, I'll buy his contract out. I'm going to own his player contracts, and you're going to sit in the stands for 5 years and rot, son." That's actually the best punishment for him. Don't even play football for 5 years.
Do you guys think that he did? Just one question for you guys about Lukaku. Do you think that he did this because he know that Tuchel's position is not secured 100%? He would not have done this if this was Pep, if this was someone that he knew is staying for sure. I thought when I'm like reading all of this and looking at the interview, I thought that this guy knew that this club is not only about him. There is instability somewhere else, not only about him. Do you guys, for Chelsea fans, you guys feel that?
I'll let the Chelsea fans.
I think that's an interesting take. And I think like it definitely could be an angle. However, knowing how the Chelsea board operate due to previous examples, the fact that he's been given the backing and the support to handle how he saw fit, I think it was an indication that Tuchel does have some sort of like they're giving him a bit of, or I don't know, some sort of power. Because I know certain situations where if Roman tells you to play this player, you have to play him. Like if the board tell you he's playing regardless because I've spent this amount of money on him, he has to play. So I think that the board have backed him to handle how he's handled the situation, how he sees fit. And like he said in the press conference, it was too noisy, like way too much noise.
Sorry, go on, Dave.
No, I was going to say, I think the thing is that what is quite interesting about our squad right now is that a lot of players may not be here next year. So they don't really have like a really strong, like Lukaku can't change too much, because what I saw today was a lot of players fighting. 2-0 down. They didn't lay down. They got back up and said, "We are still in this game." That's a lot of people out there. Yeah. And half of those players may not even be there next year. I don't think Lukaku.
Sorry, guys. No, I hear you. I think what's intriguing is what Dan Maka said around there are a number of other unhappy players that are kind of
That's not true. That's not true.
Okay, that's not. I'm only going by what he said. Like in terms of
Yeah.
he tweeted that out. That would be the dangerous thing if that was the case. Viewers, remember we are sponsored today by Fan Team. The links are in the description below and in the live comments section. It is free to register, free to enter, and if you win the Fantasy Football League that starts again in 13 days, is that 13 days? It might be 11 days. It's 11 days now, just under 11 days. There's a £100,000 cash prize for you to win. Go get yourself signed up. Go download the app or go to their website now. Get it signed up. Get your team ready. 11 days to go. And as I say, it's free to enter. All the details are in our description below. Everyone that's tuned in, I really appreciate your time. For everyone who predicted Chelsea not to win the league, well done. For everyone who predicted Liverpool not to win the league like me, yes. I'm glad I got that one right. Well, we'll see what happens. We're saying all this. Imagine there's a mad run now and they win it. It'd be hilarious. But look, everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you, all of the panelists, all of the callers, especially the members and super chatters. As always, I've got nothing but respect for you all. Congratulations to City, I suppose, today for what they did. Roll on the top 4 race. Until next time, take